All right, today we're diving into a real pharmaceutical powerhouse, Agron Remedies. We're going to look at how a company that started in a relatively small city in India managed to build a massive global reach. So think about this for a second. What does it really take to make and deliver quality medicine all over the world? I mean, behind every single pill or syrup you trust, there's this huge, complex web of science, quality control, and just getting it from point A to point B. So how does a company actually nail that on a global scale? Well, we're going to find out by looking at one that's been in the game for almost 40 years now. Okay, so our story kicks off in India, specifically in the state of Uttarakhand. This is the birthplace of Agron Remedies, a company that's really blossomed from its local roots into a major player on the world's pharmaceutical stage. So let's put a timeline on this. Agron got its start way back in 1986 in a city called Kashipur. Flash forward almost 4 decades, and you've got this massive global company. And here's a really key detail to their success. They're a self-manufacturing company. Now, what does that mean? It means they aren't just slapping a label on something someone else made. Nope. They control the entire process themselves, from the very first raw materials all the way to that finished product you see on the shelf. That's a huge deal for quality control. So you gotta wonder, right? How does a company not just survive, but actually thrive for that long in a field as tough and, frankly, as important as pharmaceuticals? Well, for Agron, the secret sauce seems to be this one simple but really powerful philosophy. It's the North Star for everything they do. And there it is, cure through quality. It sounds simple, but think about it. This isn't just some catchy slogan for a commercial. It's their core promise. The entire idea is that a real, effective cure is totally dependent on the quality of the medicine itself. It's the bedrock of their whole operation. Okay, so talk is cheap, right? How do they actually back that up? It all comes down to these pillars of quality. You see, they've got certifications for good manufacturing practices, or GMP, from both the World Health Organization and the European Union. These are basically the gold standards in the pharma world for safety and consistency. You can't really aim higher. On top of that, they're ISO certified for quality management. So that's the outside world saying, yep, they're legit. But, and this is crucial, they also have their own in-house labs for quality control and a dedicated R&D team. So they're not just following the rules somebody else set, they are owning the entire quality process from start to finish. All right, so we've got the why, that commitment to quality. Now let's get into the how. Let's see how that philosophy translates into pure, massive manufacturing power. It all starts with this number, 6. They have 6 dedicated manufacturing units. That single number gives you a real sense of the physical scale we're talking about here. It's what allows them to produce an absolutely huge and diverse lineup of products, all at the same time. And get this, those 6 factories aren't just cranking out the same old thing. Their focus is spread across 3 really distinct areas. You've got your allopathic, which is basically modern Western medicine, and that includes really critical stuff like different types of antibiotics. Then they have a whole division for traditional Indian Ayurvedic medicine. And finally, they cover veterinary medicine for animals. It's a smart move, really. It lets them serve a bunch of different markets and not put all their eggs in one basket. So across those 3 big categories, how many different products are we talking about? Over 2,000. Let that sink in. 2,000 plus. That's just a staggering arsenal to fight illnesses. We're talking everything from tablets and capsules to injections, ointments, powders, you name it, they probably make it. And it's not just a random assortment of products. Those 2,000 plus items cover more than 25 different therapeutic ranges. So we're talking about really critical fields like cardiac care, diabetes, gynecology, pediatrics, the list goes on. This isn't just about quantity. It shows they have deep expertise across a whole spectrum of medical needs. Okay. Making thousands of high-quality products is one massive challenge. But then there's the next one. How do you actually get all of it to the people who need it? You know, the doctors, the pharmacies, the patients. Well, Agron has a really smart strategy here, using 4 main channels to get to market. So their market strategy is really well-rounded. First up, they do what's called contract manufacturing. This is where other big pharma brands actually hire Agron to produce medicines for them. Pretty cool, right? Second, they offer PCD Pharma franchises, which is a system that empowers local entrepreneurs across India to distribute Agron's own branded products. Third, of course, is global exports. And fourth, they're a major supplier for government contracts all across India. And this whole system makes them a really attractive partner. I mean, if you're a distributor, you're getting competitive prices, and importantly, you know the stock is always going to be there. For government work, they're already approved on the GEM portal, which is a huge deal. It streamlines everything. And they're not hiding in a lab either. They're out there building relationships at huge global trade shows like IFEX and CPI, meeting partners from all over the planet. All right, so we've covered their foundation of quality, their massive scale, and their smart business model. Now let's zoom out a bit. Let's look at the real-world impact they're having right now and where they're planning to go next. This next number isn't about products, it's about people. Over 1,000 employees. That's more than just a workforce. It's about creating jobs, providing livelihoods, and building a whole community of skilled people who are all dedicated to that mission of quality. And what's the result of all that hard work and dedication? A turnover of more than 200 crore rupees. To put that in perspective, that's over 2 billion rupees. It's a huge number that really speaks volumes about the trust the market has in them and shows that their quality-first approach is definitely paying off. And they're not just thinking locally. Not at all. Right now, their products are reaching over 30 countries. But look at their goal. They're aiming to expand that to over 100 countries. That's not just growth. That's a seriously ambitious vision for making an impact on global health. So how do you power that kind of growth? With a really smart internal structure. The company is broken down into 6 specialized divisions. You've got Agron, Agron Ayurveda, Agron Vet Care, and others. What this does is it lets each team become true experts in their own little corner of the market. It just drives efficiency and, more importantly, innovation. Which kind of brings us to our final big question. We've just walked through the story of a company built from day one on this powerful promise of cure through quality. So as they make that huge leap from 30 countries to over 100, you really have to ask yourself, how could a company like this, one that is so obsessed with quality, potentially change the game for accessible medicine for all of us, all around the world? It's a really fascinating story of growth and impact, isn't it? If you're curious and want to dig into the details of their products or services, you can find everything you need on their website. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.